As I mentioned earlier, T, we announced a whole bunch of cars.
Yes, we did.
On Friday.
On Friday, we released we did an announce of all the cars on the car list for Forza Horizon 4,
which is 450 strong. We're going to show off a couple of those cars now. We have a couple of cars that we're going to show. T's going to jump into the game now. We're going to start that, and then we want to hear from you guys in the chat. What cars do you want to see? You've seen the full list there in the Weekend Review on Friday. We want to know, what cars do you want to see? So we have a couple of different cars that we want to show you that show you the different breadth of cars that you're going to be able to experience in Forza Horizon 4. Would love to hear from you in chat as well. And we're going to get through a couple of those now. We're not going to spend all day on that. We have a lot to get to, but really want to show you some highlights of the Forza Horizon 4 car list that the guys at Playground have been working so hard on. T, this is a car that is especially close to your heart, right?
Wait a second.
This feels like the thing we've got behind it.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that Terrence was nice enough to bring in his 2018 Ford Mustang. This is his car.
This is my, oh my God, it's so special to my heart. The awesome bit is, not only do I own the car in real life, I'm going to own the car in my Horizon life.
That's
also.
Right.
See what I did there?
I love it. You live in the Horizon life in real life and in the game. But we're going to start with the 2018 Ford Mustang.
You know, we love cars. At Turn 10, we love racing. We love cars.
Yep, go ahead. You love
Sorry.
Yep.
If you come to our parking garage, we in the mornings when you see where we park, we kind of call it Murderer's Row.
Yep.
Yeah, well, which, by the way, this is a shared parking garage.
That's
right. Our buildings are right next to each other. It's not quite fair. We thought we were doing pretty good, and then you guys moved in, and...
Well, you guys have all the warthogs lined up in the parking lot.
It's true.
It's just the way it is, the way Ford San Halo rolls.
Yeah, one of the differences we think that I especially have had the privilege of having, I think, about 60 cars that I've owned in real life in the game.
Wow. Nice.
So like the first car that I ever owned is one of the cars that hasn't made the game. Okay. But the second car that I owned, which was a...
Sounds like a feature request.
Yeah, I think you got the pull for that, too.
Was in Forza 2. It was actually the cover car.
Okay.
The 350Z.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Classic orange.
It's one of those things, this 2018 Mustang is a beast. It does 460 horsepower, it's 420 at the wheels. You can see this one in the game looks a little different than the one on the couch. The great thing is, as soon as I got this thing in the game, I started tooling around on it to see what types of exterior modifications when I got it.
So it was like a preview, because you ordered the car and it was a while before you had it.
Yes, right? I ordered the car, I think it was like in October, and I didn't get the car until January.
Okay.
You know, which was excruciating for a guy like me who, you know, I daily went, you know, to the web. I'm on the phone, I'm calling the dealer, I'm like, hey, any news, any news? But, you know, for people like us, like yourself, that love these cars, 450 cars is a way for us to try to tag the bases for people, you know, on a number of different axes. You know, we always try to make the car list make sense for the game.
Yep.
But we're always trying to do something interesting. When you see the cars that we show you today, you'll see what I mean by trying to make that car list.
There's just so much breadth and depth that Playground has put into the car list here. Someone, Swooshian, I think, on chat was saying how good this engine sounds. Maybe give him a few revs to really soak it in.
So one of the things that I did to my real car is I added what Ford is calling the active exhaust. So when you start the car, there are 4 different modes. There's a quiet mode. Okay. If you can call it quiet.
It's Mustang quiet.
It's relative.
Yeah. There is a normal mode, which is the way you would normally hear the car if you didn't, I guess, have the GT package. There's a sport mode, and then there's the way I drive the car. Track and drag mode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every time you hear the car, it brings a smile to your face. So, you know, in the morning when you're getting up and going to work, depending on the traffic, it puts you in a certain mood.
And it wakes everybody up.
Yeah, but on your way home, when you get in this car and you hear that sound, it just sounds so good every time.
I just love seeing the tail lights.
Tail lights
like
are great.
Super. My dad had a 65, Caspian Blue 65. Mustang. When I was super little, my brother ended up owning a Mustang, one of the newer models, and
Well, let's.
so good to
You know
see.
what I want to see, T. Before we move on to the next car, I want to see the interior of this Mustang.
Let's go.
I want to do. I want to see the interior because I bet it's pretty. Oh yeah.
So if you notice, if you look at the gauge closely, there's a 12-inch digital gauge in this car. Wow. So if you got the premium package, you know, you can get the normal
Love the way that.
speedometer.
Speedometer's
so
awesome.
sick.
Yeah.
But if you opted
Looks
for
like a
this
race car.
package,
Yeah.
not only do you get the 12-inch digital gauge, but you can configure this. Like you see right now that the trim and all the highlights are in red, and then all the indicators are in blue. You can go in and change those to whatever color you want. Like if I go in to start my car, everything is in red.
In real life.
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
just want to be clear. Just want to be clear about that. We're not
real
announcing that feature in Forza Horizon 4.
That is correct.
But a great feature in real life.
Thank you for that, Brian. But
Yes.
yeah, it's a great feature in real life. But you know, like the nice bit is the way the tachometer and the accelerator perform in real life. It performs the same way in our game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say let's move on because this car looks awesome, and I know it's close to your heart. But we've got some others to show off. The next one I want to show off couldn't be more different from the Ford Mustang. It's definitely a monster, but it's a different kind of monster.
It is a different kind of monster.
So this car we're going to go to next. This vehicle we're going to go to next. It actually appears in the the Forza Horizon 4 commercial that we're going to air in just a bit. If you missed that commercial, you'll be able to see it here on the show. But this is a beast of a different nature. This is the Mercedes-Benz Unimog U5023. I don't know what any
This
of
is
those.
closer to the one in our game.
This is way closer to like a transport vehicle.
Yeah, the Unihog.
The Unihog, that's right.
We were trying to say earlier.
We accidentally said that, but this thing is a beast in every way.
Yeah. So the 5023 designation.
Yes.
I think the difference is the off-road ability of the vehicle.
Okay.
So you can buy one that's basically like an on-road transport, or you can buy an off-road flavor.
Okay.
And because of Horizon's off-road nature,
This
we
feels
opted to put the off-road flavor of the
Like
vehicle
you
in
do.
the game.
Scarlet Pimple says, throw a few POP 50s in the back of that thing. You could fit a lot of something in the back of there. That's for sure.
Throw like a dozen out in front, it'd be like Santa's sleigh.
That's right. So not the fastest. Oh, nice. You can get the bed.
Yes, you
I
can.
love that.
So as with all Forza games, we have Forza Vista.
Yep.
That affords us, it allows us to do some cool things. We go in, and when we're not only just trying to find the car, we're trying to find all the options for the car that makes sense.
Right.
As you know, we brought a lot of new, wide body kits. This is one of the things that we've been trying to double down on and giving the players more options of like kitting the car out the way they'd like to. I actually like to roll this thing without the kit.
Well,
canopy.
if nothing else, it helps you see because when you're rolling with the top on,
You keep
can,
shuffling,
the
have
thing
fun.
is so big and
I'll
wide.
show
We were
up
looking
the
at before the
race
show
for
began. You can barely see ahead of you.
Yes.
So it reminds me of the Mercedes race truck in motorsport,
Yep.
where you have to race that thing in cockpit because other's you're gonna have trouble
Yep.
seeing ahead of you.
Yeah, and Brian has so much money.
I got so much money.
I'm gonna opt.
Oh, you mean in the game?
in the game?
Yeah.
And in real
Yeah,
life.
okay. Well,
I'm going to opt to spend a little bit of it in the game.
okay.
so
What are we
can-
buying then?
I just brought that option so we can drive
Oh,
this
okay.
thing with the canopy off.
Perfect. Well, let's get this thing on the road now.
It's like it enables the outside view again.
That's right. It's the outside view
Re-enables the
enabler.
functionality.
That's right. So a good place to be also in cockpit in this beast. Now, a stark contrast from the Ford Mustang. We're not going to be going 170 miles per hour in this thing.
I just love the stark contrast in visuals.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like
It's party time.
This is what they brought in to set the tournament,
That's
to
right.
set the festival.
To
up.
knock down all the
Yeah, and
trees.
yeah, exactly.
But T, you were saying, I think last week, this thing just clears paths wherever it rolls.
Yeah, it's like there's the tarmac that we all love, especially people like our Forza Motorsport crowd, the racers out there. But then there's the Horizon crowd.
It's
that-
absurd.
hey, the shortest distance between 2 points
That's
is
right.
a straight
Where
line.
we're
There's
going.
different kinds of speed here.
So if you're looking to do some what we call in the game landscaping, this is the car for you. it's rare that anything besides the biggest trees that we have on the map.
Look at this.
Stop this
you might
thing.
roll
Let's
it.
go.
Oh.
And there's an example of it. Let's try that again.
You know how many people it would take to turn that thing back over? That'd be crazy.
75 peel 50s. You know, really.
The other side.
The other side.
That's okay.
Oh, there it is. In our game, you just
All
hold
right.
X to flip.
That's right.
So-
You got a flip button.
Third time's a charm.
Now this thing is not so adept going downhills, but you were saying great climber.
It climbs.
Yeah.
You know, and it also does things like plow through walls.
Yep.
And
Walls are just a suggestion.
and planters.
Nice.
And not trees,
Not that tree at least. Some other trees.
but fences.
Actually, it's a good point bringing up trees because trees are. I don't want to say they behave differently, but you've sort of opened up the world with regard to trees.
Yes.
In Forza Horizon 4. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
Jake.
so we've always had this off-road nature in all the games. With that comes a little bit of a sticking point with our communities. We are always trying to take feedback from the community, you know, assess where we can improve things. One of the things we knew we needed to do better with Horizon 4 was what we call the tree language. So, you know, you can think of it as car versus. So if there's a car that you feel like should win versus a tree, it does.
Right. In this case,
in the game.
perfect example.
In the game.
Yes, please drive safely. We're not suggesting you go out and play this game in real life.
Right.
But if you glance at a tree and you feel like that you're probably not going to win in the vehicle that you're in, that is exactly how the language works in the game. So if you should win, you generally win. So we've done a much better job of that, which makes it easier to frolic. And
I feel like the visual differentiation alone too.
Yes.
Is really good.
Yeah,
With
you
this
should be able to tell
compared-
the difference between the trees you can get through and the trees you can't.
Yes.
Which especially helps like at high speed.
You know, like
Like,
here's a
you're
prime
just
example. I won that one. It's
I'm
like
hearing from the folks that they want to see the Peel P50. I think that's a barn find.
I think
I'm
the
not
Peel is actually a barn.
very
Is it
small
a barn
barn.
find? Yeah, it's a tiny barn. Very small barn. So we may not be able to get to that, but rest assured the Peel P50 is in the game. I do say we switch cars.
Let's
and,
switch cars.
Try something else. Again, we're going 180 degrees in a different direction.
Yes.
This is a car that isn't new. What we've seen so far, T, is we've seen new to Forza cars.
Yes.
We've seen cars, the 2018 Ford Mustang, of course, new to Forza. The Unimog, of course, new to Forza. Now we're going to actually check out a car that. Should we do the Bugatti or should we do Volvo next?
I actually think we should do the Volvo.
Let's do the Volvo next because this is like a midpoint between the Unimog and the Mustang, right?
It's like the Unimog achieving its final form.
That's right.
Basically.
It's like third stage
Yeah, it's-
Unimog. Because we're going to end up with the Bugatti because we want to show that off last. The Volvo Iron Knight, the 2016
Gets me every
Volvo
time.
Iron Knight. I've never seen anything like this.
I think it's. I think this car does something like 2,400 horsepower.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. 2,400 horsepower. This car behind us, that's so near and dear to my heart, is rumored to do sub 4 0 to 60s. You see a car this big and this fast.
I'm telling you, I'm that like it's the same designers that did like the LaFerrari or the Senna. Like if you just put like a LMP cockpit on there instead, it'd be hard.
Yeah.
You'd be hard
Yeah.
pressed to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's just like a story high. Otherwise, it's an LMP car. This is
It's
basically
true.
the difference. I love
Yes.
that exposed
A
engine.
little bit of a drag coefficient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 2,400 marker is a call out for the horsepower. on the side.
That'll do it.
But this thing will do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds.
Wow.
I just try to imagine a thing this big. Like imagine a bus, a cruiser style bus coming up on you that fast.
Yeah.
Like, you probably get out of its way. Let's drive this thing.
Let's drive it. So I always got to know that we should go into solo mode so we don't see that network.
Yes.
This thing's big. It's heavy. It's kind of like the Unimog in that nothing's going to really stop it in a straight line. But you imagine this thing, it's meant for, I guess people race this thing?
Yes.
I feel like the 2400 is like the number of sheep that have been traumatized by this thing in
Go
the
into
game.
cockpit. There you go. Look at that cockpit.
Yeah.
Look at the, I don't know what half those instruments do. Doesn't matter. Kruschen,
Yes.
that's like Swedish for
I
fast.
just assume it's the opposite of off.
Yeah.
Context clues over
I
there.
think I just passed the drag strip, so I'm going to back up here.
That's right, because we do have drag strips. And not just drag strips, but we got lanes in Forza. Playground has done a great job. You know, people want to go to these long straights. They want to go to the airports.
What's a white knight? It has to joust.
It's got-
it
that's
only
right.
it only goes like, you know, you compete in one direction as a knight.
But we've all been there going to the airport to drag race, and now Playground's built us lanes to go in. I love that.
As
Oh,
you can see,
braking
This
maybe
is
not top of the
absurd.
priority list for this.
it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more nimble than the Unimog,
But that's not saying much. This
But,
thing's meant to go straight.
but it might be something that you consider. You know, when you go in,
So is
you're
this
picking
couch.
cars for
Yeah,
races.
that's right.
You know, this beast is going to hold its own with quite a few cars on the car list. So.
I'm seeing some requests.
And there's that.
Yeah, and it could knock anything out of its way. I'm seeing some requests for the VW bus. If you want to see the VW in the game, can we get that maybe?
Let's go look at it. Let's go see.
So,
Oh, it's so good.
so we're going to spend some time with some cars that you guys want to see. Remember, we've still got the Halo Showcase coming up at the very end of the show. You guys are going to see that Halo Showcase event. We're going to drive it for you. Spoiler warning, just so
Yep,
you know.
it's true.
There's spoilers there, but if you want to see it, it'll be here at the end of the show. I think we're going to have a little competition, Jeff.
I think that is the rumor. That is the rumor. They've been trying to pit us against each other the
they-
whole time.
That's right. They're
Yes.
trying to make it combative.
Yes.
We're friends here.
Jeff
I
and
think
I
so.
are friends.
Yeah. For now.
For now. Who knows what'll happen
I
at the
guess
end of the
we'll have to
show.
see until the end of
We
the
may be
show.
friends after this. So let's go to a user requested car, a viewer requested car. They're saying the VW bus, and if you guys, maybe we'll take a couple other cars if you want to see it. There it is, Type 2 Deluxe. Now in Forza Horizon 2, this thing was a drag beast.
It was.
If you got the right tune in there, you could win drag races in a VW bus.
You could.
It was you didn't want to turn left or right, but you could go straight.
You
In
want to
fact,
go straight.
Yeah.
You go 0 to Woodstock.
Straight to the
and, you
Zero
know,
to
like-
Woodstock. As long as you got a straight shot, you're good.
We have a few stock chips. I tend to like
Let's do
red.
it. Let's do it.
Sorry, tried to peer over the couch there.
So the VW is supposedly bringing a new version of this out. You guys have seen that concept, the VW
Yes.
bus concept?
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Well, what they
buy
should
this
do
so
is
we can go in the Forza
like the rest
Vista.
of the industry is doing, and just bring this version out, but electric.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be okay
I
with
think
that.
Jaguar is doing it. Some of the old Astons maybe. You need one of these, but electric. It'd be fun.
All right. We loading it up, Forza Vista.
Yes, we are.
Let's walk around this. Oh, look at that. So beautiful. John Iwana is crying with joy right now because this is one of his favorites.
The upgrade hero should just be like a yellow submarine version or something.
This is beautiful.
Lovely detail.
It doesn't have curtains in the windows. You know, sometimes they put curtains in the windows.
It doesn't.
That's okay. It's an option. It's a VW option.
I'm making mental notes. Yeah, part of the thing.
It's
So
probably missing a whole lot of.
our design team's awesome. So they go in and they track down all these cars. One of the things I do is I work with the car team on like how these things look, and then I'm also the king of random requests.
Yes.
So one of the things I might do when I get back to the studio going forward is just
Who
ask a
knows?
question about options
Yeah.
for this bus.
Well, it brings up a good question. I mean, you work with Playground really closely. Of course, you're an art director. How does a car list come together in a game like Forza Horizon 4?
So it starts at the top. The guys, the first thing that drives it really is the core design of the game. So when Ralph and his design team, they go in, they have the idea, they pitch to us, they pitch to everyone
Yeah.
in the org, and when we all get on board with what I think in Horizon 4 was a fantastic idea with seasons. It starts there. It's like, okay, we're going to do seasons. It's going to be in beautiful historic Great Britain. What cars make sense? So we have the legacy of the 3 versions. So we have a nice little stockpile car of that makes sense. But we're always looking at opportunities to stretch, to add things that we haven't had before, like the Iron Knight.
Right.
Which at first glance might go, oh, that doesn't make sense. But then when you see that we put a drag strip in the festival, a drag strip on the ice when the lake freezes, a drag strip along the beach in the summer. And Iron Knight becomes something that's like, wow, this thing already has 2,400 horsepower. Can I make it lighter?
Right.
To see if I can get it faster.
I have a question.
Which stretches out.
Does the
depth of
process
gameplay.
kind of like, does it change when you're selecting cars and working with like, you know, big manufacturers and stuff, but then when you're working maybe like a race team or a one-off or a privately owned car?
Well, you know, the designers go in, you know, and John, who's regularly on these streams, could speak really well to this. But the designers go in and we try to keep that lens off of it.
Yeah.
You know, we try to think about, for one, is it going to be fun for the player? Like, you know, I'm a fan.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I like to actually stop myself from playing this game during production because I want to consume it the way a fan would.
Yep.
And when we're thinking about those types of decisions, the first thing we do is think about the player. It's like, this doesn't make sense, but, you know, would the player like it? And then would I like it? Because I am a player, I am a fan of these games. Yeah. It's like working with guys like you at 343. That's why something like the Halo Warthog makes so much sense, because it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And you know that's the number one rule. One of the core pillars of the Horizon franchise, one of the first things those guys did was build the core pillars. They're fun, freedom, and beauty. Those things have come along for the ride in every game. When you're picking cars, is it beautiful? This thing is beautiful.
Yep.
When we talk about being fans, like we're just as much a fan of you guys a fan of the Warthog and stuff like that. So I think it's a perfect
I'm gonna take
example.
this on the road.
Sorry. I tend to play games this way. You know what I mean?
Take pause and just talk.
No, I'm an art director, so like I'm trying to get through progression, and it's like I stop and look. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally how I play the game sometimes.
Well, let me ask you while we're driving around the VW bus here. Another question, of course, is this game, you know, Playground, they had the idea for Seasons. They wanted to bring the game to Britain. That affected the car list as well.
Yes.
You know, Playground, right from the start, they're like, Britain is the perfect place for this game.
Yes.
And that definitely had influence on the car list. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there's so much history. I mean, there are, you know, you guys saw the car list. There's probably some things that you didn't see on the car list that you might see. Seasons changed everything.
Right.
So every week the game is going to change. That's going to also bring with it rewards.
Yep.
So some of the things that you might not have seen on the car list might show up in week 1 of Series 1 or in week 3 of Series 1.
Awesome.
And there's so much risk history. Like I have to kind of quell some of the things that I like because I love rally.
Right.
So, you know, like when we're saying, hey, we're about to do a game in beautiful historic Britain, I'm like, oh my God, you know, classic rally.
Right. Just makes sense. Yeah.
It's like, where's my Colin McRae? Yeah.
You know, so, you know, even if you go back to Horizon 3, you can see how that game in Australia influenced the cars that showed up on the list.
Yeah.
We do that every time. It's like, what makes sense for the game? What do we think is going to be good for the fans? And then the most important thing is it always boils down to, is it going to be fun?
I think that's been one of my favorite parts about Horizon as a fan, is feeling like each one, it's like listening to different albums. You know, like each one has its own feel and its own flavor, and specifically the location has played such a foundational role in that.
Yeah, and I mean, and you know, even if you go in and like kind of like consume that like from that level, you can see that the UK locale, just, you know, the Playground team, those guys are in their backyard.
Like so much intentionality to,
you know,
to
Ralph,
those
creative
details.
director at Playground, you know, he's heavily involved in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And those guys do an amazing job of going through and trying to make choices on the tracks, you know, that makes sense for not only just the game and the core pillars of the game, but, you know, the game that we're making today. Even there are some, I think we actually brought in a few new radio DJs that are from Britain. So.
Yeah, and if you missed the announcement on Friday, in addition to the car list, we announced the entire soundtrack for Forza Horizon 4. All the songs, all the artists across all of the different radio stations. So I know there was a request for the Renault Alpine. It's not a car I can purchase right now. Let's see, lots of requests for the Audi RS6. And just so you guys know, we are paying attention we are watching chat on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. We're going to try to get in some of these requests for the cars you want to see. RS6 is what they were looking for. We got the RS4 Avant.
partial to that RS5.
You like that RS5?
Oh, that's so nice. The
Let's
lines on
just
the
get in that.
RS5
Why not?
are so good.
No, we're not going to do colors. We're just going to blue. Classic Audi blue, right? Yes, we got infinite money. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's get in the RS5. If you want to see the Dodge Demon, we are not going to be able to get to all these cars. I know that for a fact, but hopefully you guys we'll get to some of them. Yeah. How's the Dodge Demon compared to the Mustang? You probably have an opinion on that.
You know, that Dodge Demon, wow, you talk about going fast in a straight line?
Yeah.
Holy cow. But, you know, as a guy that also likes to take my car to the track.
Yeah. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do more drag stuff when you go to the track, or more road racing?
So I don't. So that thing has a line lock in it.
Okay.
The first thing I did, actually, the second day that I had the car, I found a garage, an empty garage. I went to the top
so
and
good.
I put on the line lock.
Yeah.
Because you can do a burnout to warm the tires.
Yeah.
So I didn't drag off the top of the garage, something you would probably do in Horizon. But you know, it's like we have amazing racetracks really close in the greater Seattle
Yep.
area. This place called the Ridge that
Oh, the Ridge is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
lots of the guys that we work with in the
Pacific as
studio
well,
are making tours there all the time. And you know, I thought about like if I'm going to drive 3,000 miles across country, and that Dodge Demon is probably like an amazing cruiser.
Oh yeah.
But like as a guy who likes to drive, and as people who've ridden in the car with me know that I like to drive. Sometimes I like to drive too much. The Mustang was absolutely the better choice for me.
I cannot wait till this comes out.
Look at
I'm
this.
just like watching.
This
I'm
is
just
incredible. T, are we in the Lake District here?
Yeah, you're heading towards Lake District. You left the festival. You're heading, I think, towards Broadway.
Like, oh, nice. Oh, well. That's
man.
nice.
Sorry, Audi.
Yeah, this should be somewhat of a familiar run.
That's
You're still in Unimog mode.
That's right. This is like the demo, right?
Yes,
This is similar to the demo.
this is the first drive that you take in the demo.
So I know a lot of people are curious about the demo. We don't have an announcement on that today. I know a lot of people are asking about that.
Yeah, by demo we mean
no one was curious
E3
about
demo.
E3
That's
show
right.
floor
Yeah.
demo.
More to come on the demo. So sorry we don't have news on that today, but I know a lot of people are curious. So stay tuned for more info on the demo. Do you, T? I know you were really involved in the world, the creation of the world, the different regions of the map. Do you have a particular favorite that you most enjoy playing in, or visually, or what have you?
Yes, I do. So there's an area that you've seen glimpses of it in our trailers. If you remember, there's I think it's a bunch of track toys. One of them is a Trail Cat, and they're doing this huge leap off this giant mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
We cut away when they land, but if you stay or spend more time in that area, we call it the wetlands.
Okay.
So it's north of the Derwent Water. Ben's team, the playground art team over there, when you see this, it's such an amazing area. The thing I like about it is that there's such a mix of surfaces. So you can be driving around on the road, and there are areas on the tarmac that, because of the settle, some of the areas end up with wash from the water. So you're on tarmac. Next thing you know, you're driving through a puddle, and then you're in marshlands, and it's like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
The whole way. It makes you go through and parse the car list.
Nice.
Like some of my favorites on the list are the Class 5 buggies that we have in the game.
Oh yeah.
Because they're kind of like jacks of all trades.
All purpose.
They can be fast. They land very well. Like the suspension
The
modeling.
crazy suspension travel. Yeah.
And then the story that the car tells when it's on those mixed surfaces, kind of amazing.
I have a question. Do you guys have a particular favorite type of activity in the world? That's one of my favorite parts about the game, is you have like your drift zones and danger signs and speed traps and everything. Do you have like particular ones that you seek out first, or that you just find yourself going back to?
I definitely do. It's all about cross-country events. I love cross-country events. Whoever designs as a playground, every one of them I love. They're just so... They take such interesting interpretations of the vegetation, the hills, the valleys. They're awesome. They do a great job with that.
Yes, for me, I kind of hinted towards it before. It's the dirt racing thread.
Oh, yeah, baby,
nice.
right?
And then I also like the drifting.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the cars I owned before I had this Mustang was a 2011 Evo 10.
It's gonna be in bad. Nice. This probably isn't the right place.
It's like
for
being a
car, is it?
passenger. Like I'm watching, I'm like
All right. Well, unfortunately,
moving my hands.
we got to move on. T and Jeff, thank you so much for being here. Really enjoyed that. Boy, we
Absolutely.
have only
Yeah.
scratched the surface of
Only
this car
scratch the
list.
surface.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on this. There's so much more that you, believe it or not, haven't seen.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting that we're getting close.
I can't wait to just get back on this couch a little later.
I know. We're going to be back. We're all going to be
got
back.
good stuff coming up.
And T's right. We are 2 weeks away from the launch of early access for Forza Horizon 4. We're talking the Ultimate Edition. If you've got that, September 28th, you'll be playing the game. So don't miss it.